All right, so today we're going to chop, mince, and crush garlic. So we're going to start, we have our garlic head here, our clove. We're going to cut off the root part of that, as you can see. So that's going to be pretty fibrous. It's going to be a little bitter. And it's also going to, the skin will stick to it and make it harder to peel. So now that we do that, we're just going to peel it. And so that's one way to peel garlic. Another way is we can take the clove, use the flat end of our knife, and be careful, we don't want to touch the sharp blade. But just smash it a little bit, and that's going to help the skin to come off a lot easier. So as you can see, this is starting to get a green germ growing out of it. So we're going to slice this in half, and we're going to remove that. So you can eat it, but it's going to be a little more fibrous, a little tougher on the teeth, harder to eat, and then it's also going to be bitter too. And so having a fresher clove of garlic without this green germ, you're always going to have some of it, but the thicker it gets and the greener it gets, the garlic's going to be less pungent and just less flavorful, so you'll need to add a little bit more. So for chopping garlic, we're just going to slice this halfway through the center. Then we're going to come and cut it this way. And then we're going to cut it the other way to get a nice dice, a brunoise, if you will. So I just have a couple long pieces there, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish chopping it the rest of the way, but it's a nice even chop. All right, so now we're going to do a minced garlic. So minced garlic, we're going to take this crushed clove here. We're just going to cut it nice and thin. Clean off the blade. We're going to cut it the other way. We're just going to get a nice smaller consistency than what we did for the chopped garlic. So very similar. This one's just going to be a little smaller. And so depending on what I'm cooking is what I'm going to use these different cuts of garlic for. The longer I'm going to cook my food, I'm going to leave the garlic into bigger chunks so that way it has time to release the flavors throughout the cooking process. If I'm going to do like a sauce or something a little more delicate, I'm going to use a more minced garlic like this. Yes. And then for a crushed garlic, we're going to do the same thing. And so the crushed garlic, I'm going to use that in a sauce, so that way I don't have any big chunks, and it kind of comes out a little nice and smooth. So for this, same thing. We wouldn't want to move that green germ, but so since I didn't do that, we're just going to go ahead and use this right here. And so to crush it, we're just going to use the flat end of the knife, and it's going to help release those oils. It's going to be very flavorful, very pungent, and it's going to make a nice addition for our sauce. All right, there you have it. There's a difference between chopping, mincing, and crushing garlic. And if you don't have fresh garlic, feel free to use granulated garlic or garlic powder, both acceptable substitutes. You're just going to need to add it sooner in the cooking process to help release the flavor. If you buy a pre-cut garlic, you can use that as well. It's just going to be a little less pungent, and it might require a little bit extra to get the flavor you desire.